guys, Alicia Antoinette here. We're gonna get right into the video. So I wanted to talk today. It's Sunday, August 9th, and I just finished doing some yoga, and I was thinking, and I was like, I want to talk about my experience with water fasting, and how I've seen a great benefit, but then because I didn't adjust my diet properly, I kind of slid back into some old habits. So, first, I want to talk about the type of water. So, I've tried all of the different types of water. I stopped drinking tap water like years ago, and I was buying just regular water, but I still felt thirsty. I'm like, how am I drinking all this water and I still feel thirsty? So I started really looking into the different types of waters, the different additives and things that the water companies add into their bottled water. And it wasn't really a big surprise, but I was like, okay, that makes sense. So I found that a lot of the bottled water, they purify it or whatever, quote unquote, and then like they add back minerals and things. But the waters that I was drinking, they were adding back a lot of salts, and so it was just really counteractive with my body. And that brand was the Alhambra spring water. And so I was like, okay, well, I need to change up my water. So I really started looking online, like trying to get as much information as I could about different waters. And then I stumbled across water fasting and water cleansing. Some people like to say cleansing, some people like to say fasting. They're just words, people. You're basically just drinking water and letting your body flush out things that have accumulated. So I went to the store. I bought, I bought like one of each of the different waters. I didn't go to the extent of, breaking out the pH paper and like testing the pH on it, but I just wanted to see how it would quench my thirst. And for a while, I would say distilled water really helped, but after long periods of drinking distilled water, I was feeling like things were being depleted, okay? And when kind of further investigating distilled water, I noticed or found out that because of the angle of the molecules, it is beneficial, but you don't want to drink too much of it. You want to have a nice balance. So I would say for sure distilled water is good to really help pull out, the toxins and the things that cause mucus. But you want to also be aware because it can make your body acidic, okay? And so I went back to, I was kind of bouncing back and forth between spring water and purified water. And, it was really interesting because it seemed like when I would drink spring water, it would make me hungry. Like I would feel like I wanted to eat, especially if I was doing a water fast. It seems like the hunger pains were a little more amplified, okay? And but I think it was all in my head now that I really think about it. I think I was just, I was looking for something to blame it on, and of course, I'm only drinking this certain water, and but but I did really well during my first couple of water fasts. I lost about 70 pounds or so, and but then right around that time, I was going through a really stressful time in my life where I had gotten re-injured at work, and I was pretty immobile. So it's a shoulder injury that I incurred. So in 2016 was the first time that I started having pain and issues. It did resolve itself a little bit, but it's always like I need to hurry up and recover so I can go back to work. And so I went back to work, and things were okay. I was a little bit slower at doing the job. I had a pretty physical job at the time, so I was installing and repairing internet and cable TV, direct TV, and things like that. And so, really physical job, carrying lots of equipment, um, occasionally having to climb telephone poles, go underneath houses, working um, in basements and in attics and things like that. So I had to be, really like on the go and flexible. So I had started incorporating like exercise um, to help with the stress, but it just got super laid on, like stress city at that job. And then a little bit after 4th of July in 2018, I injured myself again uh, due to stress. Now it's really making sense. Like I was really under a lot of stress, and so we carry a lot of our stress in our shoulders, our upper back. Um, Basically, the muscles that do these things, are where um, the injury, where I was feeling a lot of the pain, that, and then like in the back. Um, I may do a screen capture of from my anatomy app, um, just to kind of show what I'm talking about. But anyway, so I went off of work, and then I was going through all these therapies, and it was the craziest thing because it seems like nobody could really help diagnose what I was experiencing. It was almost like they felt, it was almost like they thought I was making it up, type of thing, okay? And I'm like, no, fool, like this hurts. Like it basically what happened was I had a knot in my back that I neglected. So I wasn't really taking care of my body in the sense of like getting massages, taking bubble baths, and just relaxing in the bath. Like I would maybe get a massage like once every 6 months. It wasn't really like a priority like it is now. And so they were having me go through all these things. I went to a chiropractor, physical therapist, massage therapy, acupuncture, like all of these things. And really, the only thing that I can say that has like helped me progress forward instead of backwards was the massage therapy. And just a side note, that's why I'm starting to study massage therapy, and I'm actually going to school for that, to become certified and licensed. But that in combination with what I'm doing now, which is yoga. But back to the water fasting, I want to finish that up before I go into stretching and like how and the things that I've been doing to heal my back. So water fasting, I found like such the big benefit, but because I backslid, I actually gained like all of the weight back. And it's really interesting because I gained the weight back as like far as the scale is concerned, but like my body shape is different, because I had slimmed down so much. So now when I'm preparing to do a water fast, I know that it's a lot better to really ease into it. Because I just jumped head first, guys. I just was like, okay, water fasting works. Let me just go ahead and do that. And so I just jumped head first, and I went. I think the first time I did it, it was like 3 days. So I did like a 72-hour fast, and it was gnarly. I was like, what is going on? Like my body was like freaking out. It felt like, um, but I felt good because I felt lighter. I didn't feel so like heavy and weighed down, and the stuff that was coming out was pretty wild. And I'm like, okay, what's going on? But just from watching different videos, I learned a lot from A Healthy Alternative. They're also a channel here on YouTube. I'm sure you've heard of them by now. If you haven't, I would go check them out, especially if you are interested in learning about water fasting, hearing some testimonials from other people of how it's benefited them. Now, that is one thing, consistency. So I had to really find my rhythm with my eating, because like I can have some really weird eating patterns. There's some times where I just don't feel like eating, or I don't feel like having certain types of foods. So I had to really like gauge myself. And that's why I said a lot of the information that you find, it's a good guide. It's a good, to learn, but like I wouldn't necessarily follow it, to the T, because your body is a lot different than somebody else's, and your body's needs are a lot different, to somebody else's. So of course, work with your physician if you are, at a place in your weight journey where you need like physician care. But like 90% of the things that we experience, we can actually take care of, themselves. And so, um, let's see. So water. So, I picture. I did take a. I did when I did go ahead and purchase a Life Straw, um, water. It's a glass water filter pitcher, and it's really nice because, especially for those of us that, you know, buying a machine to filter your water is out of the budget, and also buying a lot of bottled waters, can run on the pricey side. Um, and if you don't really feel like dealing with, having to recycle or save those bottles, I would really recommend checking out Life Straw. They have, different variations, and it's nice because they have the travel bottles where you can fill it up, and there's a filter inside. Now these are way, way, way better than the other ones on the market. I would say this one is top of the line, but it's very affordable. Um, there's another type of water called hydrogen water. I'll do a separate video on hydrogen water, but from what I've been researching, hydrogen, like when you add more hydrogen to the water, your body, it really rejuvenates your body a lot better. I haven't tested it, so I'm not gonna give a testimonial on it yet. But just from like the reviews that I've seen, and from the documented, information on it, is really beneficial. And so I plan to add that to my water fasting. Now, it's August 9th, 2020, and this is kind of the time of year that I like to start cleansing, because, although like this year, we haven't really had many barbecues. Well, at least I haven't been going to many barbecues. The 4th of July, I didn't really go out, to be around the smoke and things like that. But, because there is this energy going around, and you know um, the illness that's going around. I don't want to give it energy, so I'm not gonna name it in my video, but we all know what it is. Um, because all of that is going around, it's a really good time before the cold season hits, to start cleansing. Our immune system is way more efficient when it's running at optimal speed. So if it's still clogged up with, like, you know, eating a lot of things that we tend to associate with summer, like ribs and barbecued chicken and things like that. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with that for those people that still have that in their diet, but just be mindful that you need to help your body push that out of your system. You know, it's really funny because a lot of people, they'll keep that type of stuff in their diet, and they're like, oh yeah, I have bowel movements, I have regular bowel movements, but they don't understand that that bowel movement that they had is some old ish that was in there. Okay, that's not even what you just finished eating. And that's where you need to get to. You need to get to a state where after you eat, before the day is over, like, you should be like letting that out of your system. Okay. um what else? So I wanted to also talk about body movement and stretching. So with me learning massage therapy, it just kind of like blew my mind that, you know, this isn't knowledge or education that many doctors have. You know, I've learned so much from my massage therapy teachers, and I'm like, that not that they diagnosed me, but just me with the process of elimination of how the body is structured, and then just really looking at like the type of work I was doing, and just realizing that stress is a big factor, and like really dealing with it head on. It can be a challenge, and when you don't really realize you're under stress, you know, you're just going, you have that type of lifestyle, like, it will stop you dead in your tracks when you get an injury. Okay. um and so I started doing yoga. I actually utilize, the website is glow.com, and I'll leave a link below, so that you guys can check it out. And it's now, okay, so I've had it for a little while, and I will be honest, I had, like, when I signed up for it, I didn't start doing it immediately. I would say this is like the second month, and I'm really only starting to really get into it, only because I was going through a lot of, like, personal things, but I just really, after doing it a couple times, I'm like, you know what, this is really what my body needs. It's a nice stretching, especially the beginner ones. I don't know about like the advanced yoga yet, because I'm not there, but the beginning yoga, it helps get your body moving, but it's not super jarring, and it's not super challenging. I mean, it does give you a challenge, but a nice ease into it. Um, I it's funny because I kind of steered away from yoga, only because I was hearing different things, and I was like, I don't know, you know, if that would be right for me. But this is just a little bit of a, you know, testimony on it. I want to give it like a full, you know, 6 months, to really test it out. And that's what I've noticed with a lot of things when we're improving, you know, when we're upgrading ourselves, we have to give it some time. You know, we're almost programmed to want things instantly, but like, it doesn't happen like that. Like, honestly, like, you have to give the body time to adjust and like get used to certain things, especially for those of us that have been stationary for a long time or even have a stationary type job. Like, because I was injured in 2018, like the last part of 2018. So from the last part of 2018 to um, May of this year, I was off of work, going through these different therapies, trying these different things, stretching, walking. There was even a point when I was walking, I started getting really bad sciatic pain, to where like my leg went numb and I could barely walk. I had to like turn around and start walking back home. And I remember that day vividly because I'm walking and I usually don't wear my regular glasses when I walk. I like to let my eyes relax as I walk. I try and look, since I spend so much time on the computer, and this guy like pulled up. He's like, "Are you okay?" Because I was like super limping, but I was like, "No, I'm good. My house is right there, or whatever." Which was true. I was like right there, but still, don't get into cars with strange men. but but I was like, "No, I'm good. My house is right there." And so I make it home, and I'm like, "Dude, my ass." It was like all the way from like the top of my hip down to the heel of my foot. I'm like, what? I was like, I had never experienced sciatic pain, and that was my first time. And I was like, oh no, this cannot be, this cannot be happening. But luckily, I have my foam roller, and I have, I didn't have it at the time, but now I have, it's like a fitness ball that I, can use on certain areas for different pressure points, which I'm going to be using a lot more now that I'm actually being a massage therapist, because I have to care for my body, okay? But yeah, I don't want to make this video super long. I just wanted to hop on and kind of talk to you guys a little bit about what I'm working on, because I'm gearing up for another water fast. But I will be taking supplements, but I'm going to ease into it. So later this afternoon, I'm actually going to make a smoothie and I'm going to make it for the week. So I'm going to make it and then freeze the rest of it. I found a really good tip before I go. So if you have been interested in trying green smoothies, but like the taste is like, it's disgusting. Like if you put beets or kale, black kale, or the leafy green kale. One tip, guys, use lime. Lime and lemon juice will help to kill that flavor. Now, if you use celery, the celery is going to still stick out, but it's not going to be like super gross. I will admit some of the green smoothies can be disgusting, but if you add lime, I was like, oh my gosh, where has lime been all this time? So add lime to it and it'll kill that nasty taste. Okay guys, so it's been nice talking to you. This has been Alicia Antoinette, and I will check you guys out on the next one. Peace.